Today's review is for TrollHunters Rise of the Titans, the official Tales of Arcadia movie, as well as the true big finale for the Tales of Arcadia franchise. Produced by series creator Guillermo del Toro and directed by the trio of Johan A. Matt, Francisco Ruiz-Naz, and Andrew Schmid. Starring Emile Hirsch, Tatiana Maslany, Colin O'Donoghue, Charlie Saxton, Lexi Medrano, Kelsey Grammer, Amy Landecker, Fred Tatasciore, Lauren Tom, Diego Luna, Nick Offerman, Alfred Molina, Stephen Yen, Nick Frost, Brian Blest, Angel Lin, Piot Michael, Kay Bess, Cole Sand, James Hong, and Jonathan Hyde, and takes place a year after the events of Wizards, where the two remaining members of the Arcane Order, Skrael and Belrock, are preparing to use the Genesis Seals to awaken the Titans, ancient superweapons that can reset the world back to its first original form whilst destroying humanity in the process. And the Trollhunters, along with the help of the Arcadians and the Wizards, must regroup to stop their assault on the planet. If you guys have watched my channel before, then you'll know that I'm a big fan of the Tales of Arcadia series on Netflix, created by Guillermo del Toro. An epic trilogy of shows that I really loved for its animation, its characters, its interesting concepts, its action, its stories, its heart, and overall it was just a well-made trilogy of animated shows. Trollhunters, the first series, is easily my favorite out of all the shows. I loved that show. I liked Three Below, it was pretty good, and Wizards was... it was okay, but there were some things that didn't exactly make a lot of sense to me, and plus, it didn't even feel like a finale to the trilogy it was ending, since it ended on a cliffhanger. So when Netflix announced that a Tales of Arcadia film was being made, called Trollhunters Rise of the Titans, and that it would act as the true finale to the saga, I was pretty excited, because we would actually get a finale that actually felt like an ending, and not just a fun crossover of 3 shows. Yes, it was going to be like Wizards again, except it was going to be longer, since it's a movie this time, likely bring in all the characters, and likely end in a way that gave actual closure to the series. I was hoping for this to be a really awesome sauce movie, but after finally seeing it, I'm actually disappointed and conflicted in a way. On one half, I loved the movie for being so big and epic of a finale to this trilogy of shows, but at the same time, I also, surprisingly, kind of hated it. Yeah, I said that. Part of me came close to hating the movie. Well, okay, not too much, not to a point of where I'm like, oh my god, nothing could ever be any worse than whatever this piece of shit was. It's not a piece of shit, it's not. It didn't make me say anything like that. But rather, my reaction afterwards was more like, I'm sorry, what? Now, I'll get into why all of that is in a bit, but at first, I need to talk about all the great stuff about the movie. Starting with the animation. Since the series was made by DreamWorks, the Tales of Arcadia saga has always had some pretty great animation. In all the shows, the animation was always so clean, so beautiful, and even had some great details in rendering. And overall, it just fit what the shows were going for. And Rise of the Titans is no exception. But actually, while still feeling like the shows, the film actually managed to come off more cinematic in comparison. We get some great shots of a giant forest titan rising from the Rio rainforest, and for a second, it could almost look like a live-action movie shot, or even a great shot of a huge wave hurtling towards our characters that reminded me a bit of that shot from Godzilla, or even certain shots in Antarctica. At least, I think it's Antarctica. But yeah, they did a damn great job at applying the same animation feel from the shows while making it feel more movie-like. Also, the action is great, as usual in the Tales of Arcadia series. In fact, the film probably has some of the best action of the saga, from an awesome opening fight scene on a moving subway train to a pretty amazing Titan-on-Titan battle in a mountain landscape, and even a pretty great fight in a troll market in Hong Kong. Just overall, the film has some pretty amazing action sequences. The best fight in the whole movie, in my opinion, being a big epic fight in the city where the Belrock Fire Titan fights off against a huge Jaeger-like robot based on Gun Robot piloted by Vivardo's Vex, in what is clearly an homage to Pacific Rim. Yeah, for the weakest TOA installment, the action was pretty awesome sauce. I also love that they actually managed to make the Titans seem like the biggest threat our heroes had ever faced. Like, after Gunmar, Mirando, Morgana, and the Green Knight, the Titans really were a powerful force to be reckoned with. You could try and fight them with anything, like whether it's an army of fighter jets, a giant robot, or even a bomb. No matter what, unless you take out the wizard controlling it at the center, they're not going down. My favorite one in the film was definitely the Forest Titan, mostly because it was just the best design, and also had the best rising sequence in my opinion. It also had an amazing fight with the Skrull Titan. This one was definitely my favorite, even if it did kill off a certain character I really liked, which was sad. But yeah, the Titans were pretty dang cool. Also, a quick note, I really liked what they did with Eli in the movie. It wasn't a big thing, he ended up just being there, but they made a change to him that I really liked and was really surprised by. If you see the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. And while I will bring up a problem about this later on, I do really like how the film actually felt like a finale. You see, one of the biggest issues I had with Wizards was that since at first Rise of the Titans wasn't announced yet, Wizards didn't really feel like the finale it was set up to be, and its ending was just too open and didn't offer any kind of sense of closure. But this film actually does feel like a big finale and offers a sense of closure. Bringing in more of the characters, having more larger scale battles, and even having characters make big sacrifices in ways that just hit you right in the feels. Like, this film at the very least was definitely the true big endgame event of the series, and for that, I definitely appreciated the movie enough. But now let's get into why I also kinda hated the movie. Now look, it will seem like I have less cons than pros, and a few of them are admittedly kinda small, but there is one big problem with the movie that I will get into later that just really frustrates me. First off, there is a sort of joke side plot that happens with Steve after he reunites with Aja, and honestly, it was the worst joke of the film, and it was just really cringeworthy. It was meant to be funny, but it was so insanely, cringingly unfunny. It goes on for way too long, had no relevance to the story, and the second to final scene of it is just easily the most cringy moment of the entire series. And it's just downright awful. Like, we didn't need it. Also, we get this one big in-battle sacrifice from one of the characters, and yeah, it's sad, but it ends up being technically in vain because right after there's a quick reveal that makes that sacrifice feel almost for nothing. And the reveal as to why this thing that gets revealed wasn't actually known by anyone earlier is such a huge "are you fucking kidding me" moment. Not only played off as a joke, but also totally out of nowhere. Like, seriously, what the fuck was up with that? Also, throughout the film, Aja kept saying that she called an armada of Arcadian ships to arrive and evacuate the Earth, but they never show up. Not even after the villains are dealt with do they ever show up. So why keep on bringing that up, Aja? That's entirely pointless. But the biggest problem with the movie is hands down the ending after the final battle. Because the very ending legitimately ruins the first series, TrollHunters. Yes! This film, in a way, ruins TrollHunters. Like, at first, the third final battle act was shaping to be the best and most heartbreaking emotional part of the entire movie. It was intense, it was epic, and it even ended nearly with a shocking sacrifice that actually made me sob. But what they do afterwards, which involves this plot device called the Chronosphere, is just infuriating to me. Basically, Jim does something that allows him to... Okay, I can't talk about it without spoiling it, but let me just say this. If you watch TrollHunters after seeing this film, you're going to feel betrayed and empty. Because what they have Jim do at the end is just ridiculous. Not even in a way that's out of character, just an idiotic decision. Seriously, now when I rewatch TrollHunters after this, I'm gonna just feel sad knowing that what Jim does in this film is gonna make the whole point of that show feel entirely void. Honestly, this was legit the worst Tales of Arcadia ending, and I seriously wish they went in a different direction after that big sad moment. Okay, I know that made it sound like I hated the movie, but I really didn't. TrollHunters Rise of the Titans overall is watchable, it's fun, it's definitely epic and emotional, but the ending, as well as other just kind of really distracting things, just ruins it partially, to a point where it is definitely the worst installment of the Tales of Arcadia series. Not a bad movie, has good things, again, but it just straight up ruined its chances of giving a great, perfect sense of closure right as it did exactly that. And straight up ruins almost everything. And that really sucks because I really liked Tales of Arcadia. Mostly TrollHunters, and that's especially sad after seeing this. Again, it's not a bad, horrible movie. It really isn't. But it certainly had a terrible ending that just betrays fans of the series. Like, usually I never agree with consensus like that. But here, I kind of do almost, because I just hated how they ended this thing. Like, up until that point, the final battle stuff was pretty awesome sauce. Really fantastic and heartbreaking. But what they do afterwards just ruins that. Like, legit, this is the first time I've actually felt wronged by the series. Like, who do I blame for this? The directors? Guillermo? The writers? Who? Who came up with the ending? I don't know, but look, whoever you are, if you watch this video somehow, just know that I'm sure you're a nice guy. But look, whoever you are, please, if you ever work on another franchise like this again, just please don't come up with an ending like this again. Please, because that's just not what fans want from a finale to their favorite series. Okay? Just please don't. I'm gonna give TrollHunters Rise of the Titans a 4 out of 10. By the way, just so we can all still be friends, my fellow Arcadia fans, who do you think had the saddest death in the series? Not only in the movie, but in the whole Tales of Arcadia series, from like TrollHunters, Three Below, Wizards, and even the movie, just ignoring what Jim does in the final act. Who do you think had the saddest death? For me, it was definitely Drawl, but who do you choose? Let me know in the comments. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you next time, and peace out.